guess who's back and better than ever? It's your girl Sid. Let's go! Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are talking about how to spend time with yourself, because that is the most important self there is. So it's super important to spend time with yourself, because who else gonna do it? So here's 5 tips. We'll just get right into it. The very first way that you can spend time by yourself or dating yourself is to find a new recipe to cook. I cannot be the only one who spends thousands, literally thousands of dollars on DoorDash a month.
You serious?
One really good way that you can spend some time alone is to just cook a new recipe. I actually recently was in Paris and got to make French, real authentic Parisian croissants. And I did it through an Airbnb experience. So if you haven't tried Airbnb experience, I'll post the link down below, but it's essentially just like any Airbnb. You go to airbnb.com and then type in wherever you're going, how many people you're looking to, you know, have be on the experience with you, and then also the date that you're looking to do the experience, and it will come up with a full list of things that hosts around the world are hosting and doing: private classes, photo shoots, tours, things like that. And so what I did when I went to Paris is looked up things to do in Paris, France, and I found a authentic croissant making class, which I took, and it was absolutely amazing. I highly recommend that everyone take a private cooking class or some type of like chef trained cooking class, because it was truly amazing. And let me tell you, those croissants, oh my god, literally chef's kiss. Literally, they were so good. Like, it was so easy to make. Literally,
oh Lord, again,
like 5 ingredients. It was so simple, and it was a really good time to kind of like have with myself. Although I was with other people, like I was alone in a group, if that makes sense. But yeah, so you don't have to leave the house to do this. You can definitely do it at home. One of my favorite things to do is actually go to Tasty, which is that app that has like all of those aesthetically pleasing like cooking videos. My cooking never looks like that. It always like leaves a mess everywhere. But I like the recipes. They're actually super, super good, and they're really easy to make. All you have to do is follow whatever the video is doing, but it also gives you a nice little description and recipe list for the things that you will need for that recipe. Another really, really cool thing about Tasty, if you really don't want to leave the house, is that it's directly connected to the Walmart delivery app. So if you find a recipe that you really like, it will actually link all of the ingredients, add it to your bag if you click the button that says add to bag, and on top of that, if you really don't want to leave the house, it will deliver the groceries to your house so you can make that recipe at home. Now, keep in mind that this is a really fun activity to do on your own, but it's also an experience to kind of branch out and try new foods. And if the food turns out nasty, you can always DoorDash something good. Special challenge with this one: if you end up doing it, plate your food super cute and tag me on Instagram. It's Sid Michelle, and I will repost your post to my page. My second tip on spending time alone is to actually grab a good novel, not just any book, but a novel to lose yourself in. I find that it's super easy to, you know, get lost in watching Netflix and binging the latest TV show, but reading for me, like, is a whole different story. It's super easy to be on your phone and miss part of the show, but if you're reading, you can't do that. And so if you know me personally or follow me on my Instagram, you know I'm a huge advocate for reading, and I just can't stress it enough. Like, books are the future. I don't know, it's just like so easy to get lost in a book. And like, if you don't like to read, try poetry. Like, poetry books are amazing. Rupi, Kaur.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
Is that her name? Kaur? I don't know what her name is. Rupi. I'm gonna put it down. I'll put it right here. She has some really great books. I know R.H. Sin or R.H. Sign, however he pronounces it, has some really, really amazing poetry books as well. And they're super easy, short reads, but you get a lot out of them, and it's easy to kind of like do some introspection and stuff like that. And so when you're reading your book, make sure, and this is key, this is crucial, make sure to set yourself up in a cozy environment that you could literally sit in for like an hour or two. Like maybe some candles or a snack. If you can tell, like I love food, so there will be food involved in almost all of these. But I mean, make your space cozy. Like get a good blanket, get a good sweatshirt. If you have a fireplace, like strike it up and just sit down and read a good book. Like that is one of my absolute favorite ways to spend time with myself. People aren't bothering me, and I can just kind of escape into another world for a little bit. I will say, try to stay away from self-help books if you're trying to relax. I think self-help books definitely have their place for learning and education, but when it comes to relaxation and just trying to decompress from everyday stressors, I would definitely stay away from books that are telling you that you're not doing something right or teaching you how to do something, because that's just going to motivate you to get up and do something, when in reality we want to take a step back and slow down a little bit. So just keep that in mind. I should be posting a calendar on my Instagram page of when exactly I'll be reading what books, so that you can read along with me or read it ahead of time, and we can talk and discuss what you thought about the book. So if you want to join my little virtual book club, make sure, one, that you check out the Amazon book list in my description below, but also follow me on Instagram so that we can kickstart the conversation. I'm excited to have you guys over there, and happy reading. Sometimes when I'm feeling a little blue or down, or like I need some good alone time, I actually walk over to the local bookstore, or you can even go to a Barnes & Noble. I could literally spend hours in there. I love it. Walk to a local bookstore. It's super good to support local businesses and pick up a good book. Like read the back of the book, just find something that you haven't heard of before and grab the book. I think local bookstores always have the best like random books, or ask the bookstore owner, especially if it's like a small bookstore. They will have a perfect recommendation for you, and I bet you will get lost in that book all day. But if you don't have a local bookstore, or if you just don't really want to go outside, you can definitely check out my Amazon link, and that has a ton of really good books on it for you to get. And if you have Prime, you can get it in 2 days. And after talking about being outside, I kind of want to like get up and stretch a little bit. I know I've been talking a little bit. Oh, okay, I'm better. The next tip that I have for you is tip number 3, go outside. Again, if you guys, I'm really not even trying to plug my Instagram like that, but that's just where I'm most active. If you guys follow my Instagram, you know I am absolutely obsessed with the sun, sunrise, sunset, whatever, like solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, whatever. Solar eclipse? Yeah, because it's the sun. The sun is eclipsing.
Have you ever had a dream that you do?
Is the lunar, okay, tangent, but is the lunar eclipse when the sun covers the moon? Does that sound dumb? If you know, let me know. Educate me. Clearly I need to read some more books. Anyways, go outside. I love the sun, so I try to hit every sunrise. There's something about waking up before everyone else when it's super quiet outside. There's not a ton of cars honking and people talking. It's just nice, crisp air. The sun is coming up, and oh my goodness. Some of the sunrises that I have seen you can't even capture its beauty on photo. Like you can, but like in person it's just so breathtaking, and I don't even know how, like I call the sun Solana, so I don't know how Solana, like how she do that. And she like wakes up every day and paints this amazing picture, and people are like at home in their bed sleeping. So I like to get up and just, that's my outdoor time every day. But I do encourage you to get up. If you aren't a morning person, that's fine. Try to catch the sunset, and there's a lot of really pretty places. So just search maybe on TikTok, or you can even Google it, like good places, good lookout places to watch the sunset in your area. And definitely like at least once a week, try to get out and just admire the sun, because she works hard for us. Another way to get outside is to just go outside and have a picnic. You can go for a picnic or even go for a walk, but just getting outside is really, really good for you in a lot of different ways. And I will tell you those ways. Whip out my notebook. Getting outside is actually really good for you in a lot of different ways. The first way is that it naturally boosts your energy. I think the color green in general just like does something to your brain. This is like a real psychologically, it's just a long periodically time.
We have to sit out here and wait a long periodically time.
This is a real like psychological study. It's called the psychology of color, and it says that the color green actually has a creative effect on your brain. So if you get outside daily, you are likely to boost your sense of energy and creativity. Just being better overall. Also, it's been said that natural light is super, super good for your vision. So of course, us human beings are always on our cell phones, taking in that whatever light comes from your cell phone, and it's harming our eyes. And actually, as humans, our vision is declining and getting worse and worse. And so if you get outside, the more natural light you'll have, the better it is for your vision, and you'll just be a better human being. I mean, like, we're not understanding the effects that technology is having on our body. So sometimes it's really good to just reset in nature, reset in the universe, and get ourselves back to homeostasis. And the last reason is because it's free.
I know that's right.
Like, going outside is completely free. You don't have to spend any money if you don't want to. You can literally just walk outside. Me personally, being the shopaholic I am, I usually grab a coffee or some Starbucks and do a mini hot girl walk outside, but I also am super nosy, so I like to people watch. And so a lot of times on my hot girl walk, I'll put my headphones on, play a podcast, have my coffee, and just go walk around like a park or a city and literally people watch as I walk. And it's probably one of the best, most relaxing things, and I always feel like just better after I do it. And it's like my form of like exercise, but also like reality TV, because you're literally like walking around in reality. And I don't know, there's just something really peaceful about people watching and like nobody really knowing who you are, but like you living your life. This is so deep. You living your life around other people who are also just living their life. I don't know. That's like what nature is about to me. Like all of us living organisms just doing the best we can. So get outside, go spend some time in nature. Okay, so the next tip, or tip number 4, is to make a vision board. That is one of the absolute best ways to spend time by yourself. Just like thinking about yourself, your goals, literally vision you have for the future. And I do try to stay away from like vision board parties, because I've always been the one that like would look over to my partner's vision board and be like, ooh, what you envisioning? Like, let's say they wanted to have, I don't know, $10,000 saved up in their savings. Like, I'd be like, oh yeah, me too. And I would always get disappointed because I never reached the goal. And like, I would be hard on myself when I didn't reach the goal. But in reality, like, that wasn't my goal to reach. That wasn't something that I organically came up with. It was kind of like those Disney movies, you know how they're always like,
You're throwing away your dream.
and then the kid is like,
No, Dad, I'm throwing away yours.
What? You're throwing away your dream. No, Dad. Throwing away yours.
it's kind of like that. Like, I'm not actually failing at my goal. I'm failing at someone else's goal that I kind of liked. And like, if I'm not ready to get there, then I'm not ready. Like, it has to come to me organically. So what I like to do is put on a good movie or play some good music. I'm a really big kind of like playlist person. So I'll put on a playlist, burn a candle, and just get all my vision board supplies together. Sometimes I like to do this with a nice like plate of food, sit on the floor with my coffee table in front of me, and just get to pasting. The very first thing I do when creating a vision board is actually get out my notebook and write down all of the goals that I have. It can be goals for a very specific thing. Like sometimes I create vision boards just for like specific areas of my life. Like I have a relationship vision board, I have a finance vision board, I have a content creation vision board. So sometimes I'll like write those down. But if you're just creating like an overall lifestyle vision board, it's really good to separate the different categories. So like finances, career, exercise, food or diet, relationships, gratitude, whatever, education, whatever categories work best for your life, write them down, and then write down 2 to 3 goals that you have within those categories. So like I said earlier, let's say under the financial category, I want to save $10,000 in my savings so that I can take care of myself if an emergency happens. So that's the goal. Say have $10,000 in my savings account. And you see how that goal was super specific? It wasn't have money in savings account. It was have a specific number so that I know when I reach the goal. Because if you just say have money, I could have $2 and boom, I got my goal. But it's like, that's not really like the why behind the goal. So the why behind the goal helps with the vision board aspect. So $10,000 in my savings account by the end of 2023. I would then like think about things that make you think about that goal. So like for me, it's like a money bag or a bank account or a business card. Like let's say I want like a platinum credit card or something like that. Those pictures help remind you of those goals. And then if you're doing a physical vision board, put that on there, and then on the back of that vision board, whether it's a canvas that you used or just a piece of paper, on the back of it, put those goals that you had so that you can always remember specifically what your goals were. Now, some of y'all can't even use the scissors correctly. But that's okay, because another idea that I have is to actually do like a digital vision board. And one thing that I really want to do for 2023 is create a digital vision board that I can use for my computer wallpaper. So that way every time I click on my computer, I see all of the pictures, all of the goals that I have for myself, and I'm reminded of them daily so that I can be motivated and keep going. And that's also like a really good way to just like constantly be reminding yourself of the goals that you have for yourself. And it's super easy. You literally can just like scroll through Pinterest, save the things that you like, and then just like merge them all together in an app like Canva. But overall, the important part of the vision board is to put it in a place that you can see regularly. So like if you do have a vision board, you could frame it, or like I did, I think it was in 2020, I actually like did my whole entire bedroom wall of my vision board, and I can insert a few clips of that. But essentially what I did is just found a ton of pictures that I liked from Pinterest, printed them out, and then cut them to be like however big or small I wanted them to be, and literally just pasted them on my wall in an order that looked good to me. It was kind of random, but looked good to me. And then literally every day when I woke up, I saw that and I was reminded of my visions. And it's also like a really nice art piece and talking piece for when people see it. They can kind of ask about it and you can explain your goals to them. So that's also a really cool way to incorporate kind of some home decor, but also like staying true to you, your values, and your goals. Alrighty, we have reached the very last tip for dating yourself or spending more time by yourself. And this one, I know I've said this I think for everyone, but this one is by far my favorite one, and I do it often. And I've actually had a lot of people come to me and say that they have started doing this and it's been game changing. And so here it is. Are you ready? Alright. Date yourself. Go on solo dates. And I know that this sounds so scary and so like, oh, people are gonna look at me and they're gonna think it's weird. First of all, who cares? But second of all, like I have learned, people are so self-absorbed that they actually don't care or don't like really like notice that you're by yourself. And if they do notice, a lot of the times I've found that they actually admire that you're by themselves and kind of like wish they could do it too. I know I started going like out to eat by myself. That was my biggest thing. Like I could do some things by myself, but going out to eat, I was like, I always felt bad for people who like were eating by themselves and offered to like sit with them. But I saw a girl once, and I think I was in Phoenix. I saw a girl, I was in an Italian restaurant. She was dressed up, sitting by herself, eating alone, and reading a book. And I was just like, oh, like she was so cool to me. And like the whole time at dinner, I found myself like, just like staring at her and admiring her. And like, I'm sure to her, she's like, oh my God, this girl's staring at me and she's judging me. But I was in such awe and admiration of her that like, I started doing that myself. I thought that was the coolest thing. And so now like my goal is to be her. Like literally, I don't even know who she was, but every time I go out to eat, I bring a book because I love reading, and like I just enjoy the food, enjoy the meal, enjoy the atmosphere, and like just have a night to yourself. Like you don't need somebody to go with to enjoy a nice dinner. And if you're not to the level of like eating alone, go to a movie. Go to a movie by yourself. And like you can go to a movie that like has been out for a little bit so the theater's not super crowded, but like I like doing that too. Just going to a movie, having a nice blanket, sneaking in snacks because you know we all do it, and just enjoying the movie. And like turn your phone off and just enjoy the movie. It's so much better than like watching a movie alone at home. Like get out of the house and just enjoy your own company. I always say like if you can't enjoy time by yourself, like how do you expect somebody else to enjoy time with you? Like you have to love yourself enough. You have to be like content enough to spend quality time with yourself so that when you add other people, like it just adds to the quality. So that's a really good tip. Now the hard part about this is getting creative. I know like, okay, it does kind of get lonely, like, okay, every Friday I go to the movies, but explore your area. Again, this is another great opportunity to try Airbnb experiences. They have things not just for like cooking, but like tours of your own city. How many times have you moved to a new city and like been so excited to move there but never did any of the like touristy things in your city? So tip number one with that, become a tourist in your city. Tip number two, I love poetry. And so there is always, like, I live in Austin, Texas, there's always a poetry night going on. But what you can do, go on Instagram, go on TikTok, use Instagram and TikTok as search engines. You can literally search things to do in whatever city you live. And that's exactly how I found this next thing, which was a candlelit orchestra concert. It sounds so dorky. I promise you I'm way cooler than I sound. but it was a candlelit orchestra concert, and it was a tribute to Beyonce. So all they did was Beyonce songs, and there was 4 instruments. So there's 2 violins, a viola, and a cellist, so a quartet, and they literally just played Beyonce songs with these beautiful like orchestra instruments. Oh, it was so nice, and I went by myself and like got dressed up, and it was really cool. And like, I think to pitch, to be 26 years old and to pitch to my friends like, hey, want to go to a orchestra concert, like I didn't want to go through having to ask somebody to go with me. I just went by myself, and I actually found that through TikTok. So all I did was search things to do in Austin, Texas, and that came up, and I found it online, got a ticket, and went. And it was probably one of the best experiences that I've had in, well, this month, I'll say. But if you are interested in that orchestra concert, I think they go all like on tour all around the US. So check and see if there's one in your city. It's called Candlelight by Fever. I'll put the link down in the description, and you can see if they're in your city as well. They do other things too, like I think they did like a Taylor Swift one, an Adele one. They do classical music as well. So if you're into that, like definitely check that out. And then the third and final tip that I'll give when it comes to going on dates by yourself is an app called The Nudge. And this is a texting app, so they'll text you fun things to do in your city. I don't know exactly what cities. They're in a lot of major cities, and I know that they're also expanding, but they're currently in Austin, Dallas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, a lot of different cities. And so if they have your city, it's super convenient because they'll literally text you a full itinerary of just fun things to do, and they text you randomly. Like in Austin, it's going to be raining this weekend. They'll text you, hey, looks like it's going to be raining this weekend. Here's a fun little cafe to go to enjoy a nice book and coffee while the rain pours down. Like, it's so cool. So definitely check it out. I'm a huge advocate of it, and I love doing their excursions. They come up with really cool and fun things to do. I will also put the link for The Nudge down in my description box, and if they don't have your city, just click on a city that's similar to your city, and you can still get really good ideas about things to do, like take a hike up to a mountain and then go down and get some coffee. Like, they put together really cool itineraries. Although you won't be able to go to those exact locations, you might be able to find similar locations or similar ideas in your own city. Alright guys, I have given you 5 ways to spend time by yourself. So if you are solo watching this YouTube video right now, get up, give yourself a stretch, and go give one of them a try. I'll see you guys in my next video.